Every autumn, the Victorian riflemen of the British Militaria Forum gather in beautiful Pennsylvania for a weekend of fellowship, exploration, shooting, and sharing of their appreciation of mainly British Victorian arms. This gathering, much like its Alberta-based cousin, draws from all over the world, with this year participants from the Netherlands, England, Northern Ireland, Canada, and of course the US, from both eastern and western states. The format for the weekend is made up of a meet and greet, a shoot, a couple of group dinners, a lecture on a particular facet of British Victorian arms, and a very special opportunity, a visit to the warehouse facility of International Military Antiques, or IMA. Here, by special privilege, the members of the forum are granted permission to scour IMA's huge stockpile of militaria, paraphernalia, and of course their enormous selection of Victorian arms, much of which comes from the so-called Nepal cache. For the first time, I was able to make the journey to attend this gathering. The hospitality, warm hearts, and cheerfulness exhibited by our East Coast members was second to none. Finally meeting them and putting faces to names was, for me, the highlight of the trip. What a fantastic experience, and I only hope I can make this trip again in the not-too-distant future. After a most enjoyable meet and greet on the Thursday night, Friday heralded the warehouse visit. On arrival at IMA, one is greeted in the foyer with a huge array of old firearms. They lie in racks along the wall and down the hallway. But IMA is much more than just Victorian arms, some of which are decidedly non-Victorian, though historical nonetheless. Historical paintings and artifacts also complete the display. But it is beyond here where the true experience of the warehouse visit begins. The interior is huge and cavernous, and stacked from floor to ceiling with all manner of militaria, firearms, and accoutrements.
Yeah. You say that, I just had some fun sticking. Whoa. This is gonna turn into a fight.
After lunch, the power went out when a transformer blew across the street. This sent everyone scrambling for flashlights, most of which were bore lights. But nonetheless, the work continued, and a generator soon brought light back to the warehouse. Following the warehouse visit, we had supper together in Easton, Pennsylvania. Then, Saturday, we drove south to the range for the shoot. Like all British Militaria Forum shoots, we begin with a ceremonial 3 volleys to remember those who can no longer be with us. Our gracious host for this event was the Springtown Rod and Gun Club. Many thanks for the use of your beautiful range and facilities. The range here consists of 25, 50, and 100-yard target points. There is also a gong and small target area placed at 200 yards. Much of the initial part of the morning was spent laying out one's collection, reacquainting with old friends, and making new ones. The setting is really quite beautiful, and the pavilion provides a great place to lay out one's kit. One of the most enjoyable aspects of the shoot is everyone's collection, and, pardon the pun, but what they bring to the table. Everything in the usual BMF fashion was quite relaxed. The Victorian Rifleman provincial match was essentially the only scored shoot. Gongs, zeroing of new rifles, and general shooting made up the remainder.
Remember, you got to bury that nose, of that the tip of that front sight, deep.
How low did you aim? Where'd you hold?
I was holding at the bottom of the I mean, I'm just trying to distance the front sight.
Of course, I just turned it sideways.
Cross piece or the stick?
There we go. Now it's starting to swim. I turned it.
I didn't see where that went.
What kind of loads are you using?
They are Martin's 600 grain and then 24 gauge brass.
Yeah. And how much powder?
I think it was 70 grains.
Oh, so you're feeling it with the carbine, eh?
Yeah.
What have we got here?
This is a reproduction of a 18th century British cohorn mortar. And it conveniently is just about the right size for candlepin bowling balls.
And what kind of range can you get out of that?
Depends how much powder you put in. We're just at a 100-yard range, and I'm dropping them in at about 80-85 yards with 340 grains of 1F GoX powder.
Okay.
Ordinarily, this would be a crew-served weapon, and each step would be handled by a different person. But today I'm my own crew. So the command to load would be given, and the powder monkey would be the soldier in charge of the powder charges, would come up and give a charge to the loader.
All right, let's stick it in
and load that into the mortar.
And so in the breech of that, it's not the same diameter all the way down. It's got a powder chamber at the base of it, is that correct?
Yes, it has a powder chamber which is smaller than the bore diameter.
Right. So the powder you just pour it in, it just sits at the bottom of that.
Yes.
Yeah. Now historically, that obviously was not a bowling ball. What would that have been?
A cast iron round ball.
Okay, just a straight round ball, or would it have been a shell?
They used both.
They did, eh? Okay.
Sometimes they would just use solid balls. Other
Okay.
times they would use ones that were loaded with an explosive charge, and had a timed fuse that would ignite when it was fired.
Right. Okay.
So ordinarily you would have an implement that would hold the ball,
Okay.
like a type of tongs.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So no wadding or anything else, as far as what we're doing today, anyway. You
No.
just loop it on top of the powder.
Yes. And even for live fire with real ammunition, that's what they used. They didn't use any sort of
Water, sabot, or anything like that. Nothing. Eh?
no. And this particular mortar you can use with a fuse, which I'm using, but at the time they could also just put loose, like priming powder, into this shell-shaped shelf here.
Okay.
They could pour loose priming powder there, and that would ignite it as well.
Now, what have you got in your hands there then? Okay.
And it holds a piece of slow match, which is a type of rope that's impregnated with a saltpeter or something similar, so that it burns slowly. Actually, I think they use a mixture of lead oxide, saltpeter, and some other chemicals.
Now, is that something you make yourself?
No, I bought this.
You did,
Some
okay.
guys will make it themselves. There's instructions on the internet with formulas of how to do it. Take clothesline and soak it in the proper formula.
And the actual lid stock, did you make that?
Yes. Cobbled it together.
It's got a magazine for more slowback. That's ingenious.
So the ones that they would have during the Georgian era were decorative. I think this burns at about 20 inches an hour.
Okay, so quite
If
slow.
I remember correctly.
Well, it's quite a simple process, though, in terms of the loading and whatnot. Very
Yes.
simple. I guess the difficulty comes in aiming.
Yes, aiming and correct for windage, and then if the mortar itself isn't correctable for elevation, they were set at about a 45-degree angle, but you would vary your powder charge
Oh, okay.
to adjust the range.
Right, okay, I understand.
Oh well, at least I got to shoot.
And your target today is at about 100 yards or so?
I said it was short about 80 or 85 yards.
Right, okay.
Battery A, prepare to fire! Firing!
Everything now is under Kiapa.
I'll give him one of these days. Now you'll probably get it.
More powder!
So that one fell a bit short, but windage was pretty much on.
I measured the inside right big.
Oh, I was gonna, yeah. Back it up with it in that range because I just want to make they take a look.
Well, who knows?
And I found
The orange plate loops.
So what are you shooting?
It's a Martini Henry Mark IV, 1887.
And when did you come by that?
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, is it from IMA then?
No, it's an internet buy, but I think it was originally from IMA.
Oh, okay.
And she's a sweet shooter.
Nice.
My pride and joy.
The martini you have?
It's the only Martini I have. It's the only black powder cartridge rifle I have as well. So, hoping to acquire a Snyder carbine very soon.
Have you got one in mind, or are you just going to start looking?
I'm just going to start looking right now. I shot a gentleman's over here right now, and hit the gun at 100 on my third shot. Beautiful. Maybe it's pretty good.
Is that your martini target?
my 303 target.
Your 303 target.
With the smile on your face. Did you do well?
I did all right.
Okay, well, we've got to show the world here.
I hit the target a couple of times.
Ooh, so you did.
So I had a couple of misses too. So hey, it's all about the participation.
Well, isn't it?
Isn't it just?
What is on your head, Neil?
It's my pith helmet because you go officer shots pith off.
This is looking rather Sudan-like.
Camel.
Am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
A lifetime work.
Hey, looks the part.
Thank you.
Where's your camel?
We were only talking about. And he's cozy too.
Yeah.
Terry claims he's going to go on these where you go and feed them with the kids and
Yeah.
make them an offer.
Well, I was telling Neil what the next plan is to go to a petting zoo.
Just for the photo
Yeah,
op.
well, that's where the animals are, not where the girls are.
And that's just for the photo op.
Yeah, for the photo ops. Yeah.
Jesus.
Doesn't have much recoil.
Because you're shooting, it's like 10 pounds of, 20 pounds of brass. Hang on.
there in Scotland. Looks just like your own one.
I don't know where that one went.
All right, don't shoot that gong anymore. Shoot the 100 yards. What have we got here, Michael?
It is a greener harpoon gun like the one used in Jaws.
No.
You know,
It's a harpoon gun like you used in Jaws.
It is indeed. It's built on a greener action. It was refinished by Navy Arms, who put the nice chrome job and the new wood on it. Probably saw service as a sealing gun or a, some kind of probably sealing, probably not whales. It's a little too light for whaling. It shoots a 38 caliber blank filled with some kind of really fast powder. Haven't fired it, where this is going to be an interesting experience. I'm actually going to fire a blank first,
right?
And then we'll touch off one with the.
And what are we going to shoot at today?
We're shooting at a shark target that was drawn by Victor Lavenstein, our staff artist.
Did you say shark?
Shark. We are shooting the shark.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Okay. Everybody got ears?
That's a shark.
One of the highlights of the shoot was the team skirmish. In this shoot, teams of 5 shot at both 100 and 50 yards. Once the 100-yard targets were shot, the team transitioned to shooting the 50-yard. These were numbered consecutively and represented their opposite number in the other team. Each figure was covered with 5 clay pigeons. Once these clay pigeons were shot, the corresponding individual in the other team was deemed to be out of service, shall we say, thereby limiting his team's ability to complete the shoot. It was very ammo heavy, but an incredible amount of fun.
Hi, Tim.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. This, I understand, is all your stuff.
It is. I do screen printing and I print morale patches.
Okay.
And coffee mugs and almost just about anything.
Now I see here you've got a lot of British Military Forum kind of focus.
I do.
On this stuff, which is kind of obvious of being at a British Military Forum.
It is.
event.
That's I tried to create T-shirts and things that I would like to wear. That's kind of what got me started.
Right.
And that's really how it's grown. I just create my own artwork and put it up for sale and try to find interested parties.
Right. Well, I know that the forum members are definitely appreciative of the work that you put in spreading the word about the forum and giving the forum members a common, whether it be a T-shirt or a hat or something that identifies us to each other.
It's nice to have a little bit of a uniform.
Yeah, kind of a uniform. So, what's the name of your company?
Redheadedtshirts.com.
Okay, and a web-based sort of store?
Yeah, pretty much online. I'm on Amazon and eBay as well, but you can go straight to my website. Yeah,
through that website, they can contact you if there's any specifics to.
I can do custom stuff. I do design custom morale patches every day.
Wow.
So that's my primary bread and butter now. So if you want a custom patch or coffee mug or anything like that.
Sure, and I mean, just looking at the quality of what you've got here in terms of the imagery and whatnot, it's definitely good quality.
I get to sit around creating this stuff all day. It's really fun.
Even the Lee Marvin.
Little Lee Marvin there. Yeah, I do a lot of World War II stuff as well.
Right. Awesome. Well, thanks, Tim.
Oh, thank you.
After the shooting was completed, we settled in for a nice evening of fellowship and shared a meal provided at the clubhouse at the Springtown Rod and Gun Club. The conversations ranged far and wide. After supper, Neil from the Martini Henry Society gave an excellent lecture on the manufacturers of Martini Henrys. For those interested, that video will be posted separately. The weekend overall was a fantastic success. Thanks needs to be given to a few individuals. A heartfelt thank you to all those that attended, making for such an enjoyable weekend. Meeting old friends and making new ones from the wide world of the Victorian rifleman. In particular, extra thanks go out to Michael and John for the overall organization of the event, the Springtown Rod and Gun Club for the use of the facility and the meal on Saturday night, and Christian, Alex, Chris, and the remainder of the staff at IMA for yet again opening their shop to us and helping us to search for those little gems we were seeking. And remember, for all your Martini and Snyder brass requirements, drop Martin at X-Ring Services a line, and he'll sort you out.